The health and safety of GW students studying abroad is our top priority. While no one can guarantee a seamless experience abroad or eliminate all risks from an overseas experience, proper safety preparation prior to departure is essential to provide you with the tools, resources, and training necessary to help you become aware of potential concerns, develop risk mitigation strategies, and play an active and informed role in your safety management while abroad to hopefully limit the possibility of any major incidents. There's many things you should be doing now towards your personal safety preparations. Many resources are available on our website and GW Passport, but students should also be utilizing this time to review your program's paperwork, including their on-site health and safety protocols and any emergency plans and contacts. It is also important to know what is expected of you on these programs. Review our policies page, the GW Student Code of Conduct, as well as your program's policies for behavioral expectations for an understanding of what is and is not permitted. Likewise, it is equally essential to take the time to research your host country, their local laws, cultural norms, and societal expectations to learn how to live in, appreciate, and respect your host environment safely. To further help safeguard yourself throughout your travel experience, it will also be essential to ensure you have all the necessary travel documents prepared. You should be asking yourself, is your passport valid? Your passport needs to be valid for at least 6 months after the return date from your program. If it is not, take action now, as it can take up to 6 weeks to process a new or renewed passport. Make sure you make copies of your passport once you ensure its validity. You should also upload it to GW Passport, which serves as a great backup copy as well. Have you received your visa or made a plan to obtain your visa in a timely manner? Make sure you have a full understanding of visa regulations on your host country's consulate or embassy website. OSA will provide any documentation needed for visa applications or appointments upon request, but it will be students' responsibility to handle understanding visa policies, applying for the visa, and obtaining it in a timely manner. If you are an international student at GW, you will want to make sure you have consulted with the International Services Office, the ISO, to see how your current visa may be impacted by studying abroad. Additionally, you should ensure you've researched any other entry requirements, such as COVID-related entry requirements for your destination, to fully ensure you are prepared to travel. On a related note, you may want to also consider purchasing your own travel insurance, which is different than health insurance, to safeguard your finances and belongings while traveling internationally in the case of any delayed or canceled flights, lost luggage, or needing to change your itinerary if your travel documents aren't prepared or do not arrive in time. Now is a good time to also review information on your host destination through the State Department, which provides you with detailed travel advisory information for your host country and city. You should also sign up for the Department of State's Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, STEP, to receive alerts regarding any changes in your registered area. Some of what you will find in the aforementioned resources includes tips and tricks for maintaining your personal safety. We've compiled a list of our top do's and don'ts we recommend you keep in mind at all times.
Hi guys, my name is Katie and I'm currently studying abroad in Taipei, Taiwan. If you're thinking about going abroad, first of all, you should go for it. Secondly, there are some important safety tips I want to highlight so you can keep them in mind while you're abroad. The first thing is making sure you have some sort of identification on you at all times. Usually this looks like a passport since your state driver's license doesn't hold much legitimacy abroad. It's important to have this identification on you in case you have to go somewhere like a government establishment or a hospital, or someone just asks for your identification, which could happen at any time, so keep it on you. The second thing is to make sure that you memorize your host country's equivalent of 911 in case of emergency. The other thing you want to know is you shouldn't be flashing cash around. You shouldn't keep your bag open. Obviously, you don't want to get anything stolen. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is it's really easy to find yourself in situations where maybe you don't know where you are and you have to pull out Google Maps. But when you're on the street corner looking at where to go, you can look pretty vulnerable and you're often a target for crimes or scams. So make sure you demonstrate confidence even if you don't know exactly where you are. So if you want to know more about safety tips while abroad, check out the While Abroad section of the Office of Study Abroad website.
Some things you definitely should do to safeguard yourself include, but aren't limited to, travel in pairs. There is safety in numbers. Establish connections early on in your program with like-minded students you trust and develop a buddy system that you can use while walking at night or in unfamiliar places. Safety incidents are more likely to occur when someone is alone. Keep a list of local emergency numbers. You should be knowledgeable of numbers like your host country's equivalent of 911 and your program's emergency contacts. This is something you should carry with you in case of emergency. As a reminder, a copy of your passport is handy to keep on your person as well. Likewise, make sure you've informed your on-site staff in GW of your personal emergency contacts in the event of an emergency situation. Maintain situational awareness. You should always be aware of your surroundings, especially in crowded or busy areas. Try to avoid major distractions, such as loud headphones or focusing on your cell phone. Keep your belongings in front of you whenever possible to help prevent theft and pickpocketing, and always be aware of where the exits are in any location. Use a crossbody bag that zips shut and keep it close to your body to prevent your valuables being easily accessible. Likewise, if you are approached by someone, be cognizant of who else is around you at the time and where your belongings are to help protect yourself from common pickpocketing practices. Be cautious of distraction techniques. Pickpockets often use distraction techniques like asking for directions or spilling a drink to distract you while they steal your belongings. Use safe and official transportation options. Do not hitchhike, and remember that car rentals are not permitted on GW-affiliated travel. It is also important to be prepared to show proof of a ticket on any public transportation as well. On arrival, if your program does not offer an airport pickup service, be extremely careful of potential taxi scams and be sure you are utilizing official services before getting in any vehicles. Trust your instincts. If something feels off or you sense danger, trust your instincts and take steps to protect yourself and your belongings. Our last major to-do tip is to know the location of some of the most important entities in your new home, such as the closest hospital or medical center, the nearest U.S. embassy or consulate, and the closest police station. This knowledge can be crucial in the event of an emergency. On the other hand, there are many things you should actively avoid doing in order to keep safe. These include, but aren't limited to, do not leave your drinks, or belongings for that matter, unattended. This could leave you susceptible to crime and other major concerns. Additionally, when it comes to alcohol, it is also important to know the local laws and understand your own personal limits and not exceed those. Do not expect to be treated differently in terms of local laws and expectations. These laws and rules still apply to you, even as an international visitor, and neither GW nor the OSA can assist you with consequences of breaking those laws. Without proper research, you may incorrectly assume that if something is legal in the US, it might also be legal in your host country, especially if the country has other similarities to the US. Please remember to do your own research in advance to avoid this assumption. It is not uncommon for some people to experience optimism bias, which is the phenomenon where humans tend to underestimate their chances of getting into trouble. The best way to more realistically lessen your chances is to prepare. Do not partake in high-risk activities such as skydiving, bungee jumping, extreme sports, or political demonstrations. Though these may seem like exciting opportunities, these can open you up to increased risk. For example, in many countries, companies that offer some of these activities may not be required to meet rigorous safety standards or carry insurance, or individuals may offer these opportunities unofficially in order to bypass government regulations. Likewise, in terms of political demonstrations or protests, situations can escalate to become dangerous. One final top tip is do not engage in locally insensitive behavior. This could include criticizing local customs or culture, using insensitive language or vernacular, wearing disrespectful clothing, etc. It is important to conduct research ahead of time to ensure you don't fall victim to doing any of these things mistakenly. In some countries, some of these things can be illegal, but at a minimum they are disrespectful of your host culture and could cause heated disputes with locals. For more do's and don'ts for study abroad, check out the personal safety page of the While Abroad page of our website. Some of this advice may seem very intuitive, especially if you've traveled internationally previously. However, even some of our most basic intuitions and instincts can be forgotten or pushed aside when one is in a new and exciting environment for the first time, or may be overwhelmed by the circumstances of the start of a semester abroad. Just keep in mind that you may be slightly more vulnerable for these reasons at the start of your experience, especially if you arrive early and have yet to have your orientation yet. As such, we urge you to actively think about some of this advice in those moments and reach out to your on-site staff if you have any questions or concerns. As we consider personal safety abroad, it's important to also mention tech safety, which can be examined with two meanings: ensuring you are aware of how your online presence and technology use contributes to your safety overall, and ensuring the safety of your technology so that it functions properly when you need it for your own safety. In regards to that first meaning, one of the most important things you'll want to consider is your use of GPS-based apps. You should be cognizant of any apps in your technology that you might be using that show others where you are located. You can use GW's VPN to help avoid your technology tracking your current location as needed. Additionally, in certain destinations like China or Hong Kong, you should also make sure you are very careful of conversations held online or even content on your computer if it in any way goes against local laws. This is another reason why doing your country-specific research will be greatly beneficial. In regards to our second meaning of tech safety, given that technology can be so important for staying in touch with people on site and at home and letting them know you're safe, or for calling the police or other emergency services in the event of emergency, it is extremely important to make sure that your technology is safeguarded and that it is working properly. Make sure your passwords are secure to enter your various devices. Now is a good time to also run any updates your devices may need in advance. You should also prepare by downloading the Microsoft Authenticator app to your phone in order to bypass the need for a call or text to complete the two-step authentication process for your GW email and accounts while abroad. Do not delay with this and make sure you prepare in advance. You want to ensure you won't be locked out of your GW accounts, which you will certainly need to keep up with any updates from our office or the university during your time abroad. Likewise, you should also make a plan for your phone use while abroad. Some students prefer to use their current phone and switch out their SIM card, in which case you may need to talk with your phone provider to ensure you can remove your current SIM card. Other students may prefer to purchase a new phone on arrival. Either way, it will be important to have a phone that can be used on the local network of your host country and does not need to rely on Wi-Fi. In the event that anything does go wrong with your technology, though, it's helpful to back up your data on an external hard drive before you leave and also have physical copies of some of your most essential documents so you're not fully reliant on your devices. Lastly, don't forget to research the outlets available in your host country and ensure you purchase an outlet converter to be sure that you can charge all of your devices while abroad. Safety is a key part of what makes a successful and happy study abroad experience. Begin your preparations now to limit the potential for problems later, and never hesitate to reach out for help when needed.